What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Just a guy on my lunch break is back, aka Corey. We hit 600 yesterday. That's amazing. Thank you guys very much for that. Had some new subscribers pop on recently and begin engaging with the channel. As you guys know, I love that engagement. That's what we're all here for. To not only support and encourage one another in our own journeys with Kratom, but we're also here to give each other ideas, feed off of each other and say, hey, so-and-so, you mentioned that you're here or that you do this. Well, I used to do that, and here's what I did to fix that. Here's what I did to curtail that. Here's what I did to come off of that. Or, here's how I was able to sleep through that process. We get on here and we kind of lay it all out there on the line. It's good to talk about things. Talking helps. That's always one of my hashtags, because if you keep things balled up inside in just a little bitty bundle, it will start to spread, fester, and fester. And the next thing you know, you're all consumed by it. And you're all consumed by that negativity, that worry, that concern, whatever it is that keeps cycling over in your mind over and over and over and over and over. And when you type out that message and that comment and you get it seen and heard by other people, there's something powerful about that. There's something empowering about that for other people to hear your story, to hear where you're at, where you've been, what you've done, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's why this channel is really, really important. And I just appreciate the support. I'm at 603 subscribers now. When I first, just a little backstory. When I first started this channel somewhere around 8 months ago, I was really heavily addicted to MIT 45 extracts. Was kind of at my wit's end about how to go about getting off of those. And not only for my own mental and emotional, not just mental and emotional, my mental, emotional, and physical health getting off of the MITs, but also financially. I was putting myself under a pretty large financial strain. Luckily, my wife and I at that time especially were making good money. We had excess every month, so we never couldn't pay our mortgage or anything like that, which that's a blessing in and of itself, but definitely was feeling the financial strain. And when I first started this channel, I did this first video. I did about the first five through 8 videos, and I wasn't even making them public. I was literally talking, doing the video as though I was talking to an audience. I didn't have any subscribers, as I was talking to the audience, right? And I was even making comments in my first few videos about how, this is kind of just an accountability action for myself, getting it all out there. If someone does happen upon the channel and it helps them, that's a great thing too, because I love to help people even in the midst of my own storm and my own trials and tribulations. I love to help people. It's just who I am. But I stated on these videos multiple times, the first few, I don't even know if I'm going to make these public. My first 5 to 8 videos were private. People couldn't even see them, right? And I made the comment on there multiple times, not even sure if I'm going to make these public. Maybe one day I'll just hit public on all of these, and then, people can see them. And so eventually I decided to do that. I decided to hit public on those first few videos. And, so for the first week, 2 weeks, it was like crickets. Like, damn, ain't nobody hearing this shit. Ain't nobody hearing this shit, because I wasn't editing the videos. It's just me on here talking to you guys like you're my friends, because that's what I consider you. I wasn't editing the videos, no thumbnails, no clickbait, no eye-catching thumbnails and titles that people go, oh, I wonder what this guy's talking. I didn't have any of that. And I purposely wasn't having any of that, because I want people who run across this channel to know that you're talking to a real guy with a real life that I'm living to the best of my ability. And a guy who really does struggle with these issues that we're talking about. This is real time shit for me, right? This is happening in real time, in real life, you know, and you guys are getting to witness it. And I think that's one of the reasons that the channel is now just hit over 600 subscribers. I mean, that's crazy to me. I know that's, you know, when you look at that in the scope of people who have got channels with 100K subscribers, 1 million subscribers, 5 million subscribers, it's not a drop in the bucket. I get that. But for me, a person who started the channel and I wasn't even sure if I was going to make the videos public when I first started, and I've only been doing it for 8 months, and I'm not doing thumbnails, and I'm just some regular guy on his lunch break just sitting here talking to a bunch of random people about my life, my struggles with addiction, Kratom specifically, a little bit about my past. You know, we talk about a little bit of everything regarding life on here. And with all that said, hitting 600 yesterday was really good, and that felt good, and I want to thank you guys for that. Okay, so with that said, that's a good segue to hit that subscribe button. If you have not yet, it doesn't cost you anything. 2 seconds, you hit the button, you don't ever have to worry about it again, and it helps me out, helps me get a little bit closer to my next goal, which is going to be 700, then 800, then 9, then 1,000. And if I can get to that point where I can get those 4,000 watch hours, hey, this, you know, I can help more people, and it can start becoming, you know, self-sufficient. I can start earning some AdSense on YouTube, and, you know, making a few pennies for my time and my effort that I put into these videos that are obviously helping a lot of people. Because, you know, you don't have to be a doctor, you know, you don't have to be a professional psychiatrist in a lot of instances. You don't. A lot of times just hearing someone else's experience, you know, and just understanding and knowing that you're being heard, you know, and that what you're going through is not dissimilar to what all of these other people who have subscribed to this channel and are commenting on these videos are going through. We're all going through it together. The same time and space, right? What are the chances? All of us. December 2023, all 600 something of us going through the same shit all at the same time, right? Lets you know how popular Kratom is, does it not? But anyway, thank you guys for that, and I'm gonna move on doing what I usually do, and we're gonna talk about some comments and react to those comments. First, I want to give a quick update to where I'm at. So I ended up taking 15 grams of Kratom yesterday. I had intended on taking 14, but to be completely honest, I'm only about 5 to 6 days into the 3 times a day. So just a little bit of history for about the past month and a half or so. I was taking, you know, large heaping teaspoons of Kratom, sometimes 5, 6, maybe even 7 times a day. I have no doubts that on some days I was getting up in the realm of 30, 40 grams on some days, right? I'll say the average was maybe 30, 25, 30. That's very high for me. I've always been a person rather that has been pretty moderate with Kratom. In the first several years that I took Kratom, I literally was taking maybe 8 to 10 grams per day. Not very much. Maybe, you know, 12 to 14 capsules a day, something like that. Not a whole lot. Then I got on the MIT 45s. That increased my tolerance very substantially for about a year. Started this channel. Ultimately got off of the MIT 45s. I've not gone back to the extracts, which I'm very thankful for that. But, you know, I'm still in the Kratom powder, and now I'm looking to make some changes on that. And I want to go ahead and, I don't know if I'll come completely off, but starting January the 1st, I've got a handful of people already that have said, hey, bro, let's do it together. I'm there with you. I've had some new people pop on the channel and say, it's crazy, I'm about the same exact place you are with Kratom. And they're wanting to jump on and do a taper and stuff like that as well. So I've got a handful of people that have already, sign their name on the dotted line, as it were, interested in doing a taper starting January 1st. So I'm still having the trouble with not really being able to doze off at night, for a couple of months, taking up to 25, 30, 40 grams per day. And now I'm taking 15. So you can see the gap there. That's a pretty big, sizable gap. And I've really decreased my dose here within the past week pretty substantially. But I will say, it's starting to get easier. The interdose times, meaning the times in between that I do the 3 doses, is starting to become easier. I'm not thinking about it nearly as much. My energy is not nearly as low in those interdose periods. And that's just because one of the biggest gifts that a human has is the ability to adapt to new situations. If you force a new situation onto a person, it may suck at first, but guess what? Eventually, if that person continues to, act out that new situation, eventually that becomes their new norm. Eventually, that becomes easier. So now, whereas the first 2 or 3 days when I started taking just the 3 doses per day again, I was struggling there for a little bit the first few days, and it was very hard not to take another dose in between, the 3 doses that I was taking. That's getting easier now. So it just goes to show you, if you stick with it, if you stay with it, you can adapt. It can become your new norm, and that's how you eventually work your way down to where you're just taking a very minimal amount daily, or you work your way off altogether. If you work your way off altogether, for those of you out there that have expressed kratom has become a slippery slope for you, it was good at first. I've heard a lot of people say, it got me off of this, or it got me off of this opiate, or it got me to stop drinking, whatever, and it was really, really, really good at first, but then it got to a point where it ain't good anymore, and you started to feel some of the negative effects of, of something like that being a crutch to you every day, and a lot of us have been there. Some of us haven't. If you're pretty new to kratom, some of you haven't. And I will say, I never judge people on here for continuing to use kratom. People are at different places with it, and it is always going to be that person's decision whether they have pushed the kratom bar too high or too far, right? But I will say, if you're new to kratom, maybe you haven't gotten there yet. Maybe 6 months down the road, maybe you're in that honeymoon phase with it. 6 months down the road, a year down the road, a year and a half, 2 years down the road, if you're still taking it, you'll get to that point where you start seeing some of those negative side effects and the increase in tolerance and stuff like that. And I'll be here when you do. So I am still only taking the 3 times a day, but I have been dosing some throughout the night so that I can get the sleep I need. I've just had to, guys. I've had to. I have a 7-month-old baby at home. He gets up several times throughout the night. Not several times, usually at least twice he gets up in the night. And, so I have to be woken up multiple times as it is. So, and I'm a 47-year-old guy, and I work very hard, and I exercise too, and I'm just, I'm one of those people that kind of burns the candle at both ends a lot of the time. So it's important for me to get as much sleep as I can. So what I've been doing is saving a few caps to take throughout the night so that I'm able to stay asleep, right? And what I'll eventually do is start to cut down my daytimes and take doses off of my daytime and take amounts off of my daytimes, and then my night times will be the last thing that I cut. The last thing that I cut will be the night times, if I do cut it out completely, okay? And that aspect of it remains to be seen. So anyway, at AVG Master 1, so my sex drive is healthy. The past month, I've been off of kratom for 33 days, on for 7 days. Now I'm off for 4 days. I used to keep 2 kilos around and abuse the hell out of it in the past. I'm in control now, and I love it. The power of not being addicted. Love your channel, man. Thanks. ABG Master 1, thank you very much, brother. You know, this is one of those instances where I have to point out that there's a lot of people out there that can't say I'm not addicted. There's a lot of people that just can't say that. And I'm probably one of those people. You know, I'm probably one of those people that if I'm going to use it and I'm going to resign myself to being a Kratom user, there's probably never going to become a point where I can say, oh, I'm not addicted anymore. I'm not saying that's the case for you, because you're a completely different individual than I am. And I use my wife as an example all the time. My wife uses Kratom every day. You know how much she takes? 1.5 grams. Whoa. You know, I mean, talking about over the top, bro. You know, she takes 3 capsules, 3 500 milligram capsules first thing in the morning before she has coffee. She drinks her coffee. She goes out. She's a salesperson. She works all day. She goes here. She goes there. Comes home in the evening. Takes care of the baby until I get home. Once I take over with the baby, she'll cook dinner for the family. She might have a glass of wine while she's cooking, and she doesn't take any more Kratom for the rest of the evening. And guess what? She doesn't have a physical dependence on Kratom because her tolerance is not high enough. She sleeps pretty well every night, barring the fact that we have an infant in the room with us. But she sleeps well. Perfect example. She takes it every day, but obviously she's not addicted to Kratom. She doesn't have a dependence on Kratom. And it's one of those things where if I chose to stop taking it altogether, and I have before, if I chose to stop taking it altogether, she would do that with me and not really have any issue. I mean, she might still miss taking it in the morning with her coffee because it kind of gives her a mood and an energy boost getting her day started, but she wouldn't have any withdrawals, okay? She wouldn't have any lower mood. She wouldn't have any problem sleeping at night. She wouldn't have any problems with that transition, whereas I do, because I take a significantly larger amount daily than what she does. But it's because I'm addicted to it. I'm dependent upon it, right? So it really just depends, you know, whether you have that addictive mindset or not. And if you're able to be at a place where, and I think a better way to put this, where you said, I love it, the power of not being addicted. I think a better way to put that is, I love the power of not being dependent. Because what you're doing is, if you're able to maintain that sort of schedule that you're talking about, where you're on it for a few days, but then you're off several days, what you're doing in effect is, you might still be addicted to it, but you're not physically dependent upon it. Meaning, when you go for that period of several days and you're not taking it, you're not having the uncomfortable withdrawals, those side effects and negative symptoms that a lot of us experience when we go to stop, right? Which, if you can maintain that, hey bro, more power to you. I think that's amazing. I think a lot of people can't maintain that. I've tried several times to maintain that, and I maintained it for a little while, but then I ended up going back on it full time and regularly again. So that's just me admitting who I am, you know. And I love Kratom. I don't love where I get to with it eventually, you know, but I'm one of those people that I love the effects of it, and I hate to think about the fact that I can't take it. You know, I hate thinking about that, because when I'm taking it responsibly and when I'm able to moderate myself, I have a pretty darn good relationship with it, and it really helps me with a lot of things that I've struggled with for a lot of my life. You know, anxiety, kind of being prone to depression, things like that. It helps me tremendously with a lot of those things. But the problem is, when you get over that tipping point where you become physically dependent, you just have to keep taking it, because if you go to stop, It's no bueno. And then you end up feeling worse than you did before you ever started taking it, which is even more no bueno. So, but anyway, thank you for that. Keep doing your thing, bro. At Joylyn Francis says, can someone tell me a good vendor to use? I use the high during the day for energy and the low to wind down, kind of like having a beer in the evening. I've tried the one that sponsored the Leaf of Faith, Happy Hippo, and now Club 13. I like the ones that tell you how it works, as I've noticed some vendors do not categorize them. Thanks, y'all. Joy, thank you for the comment. I was gonna comment on this yesterday. I just didn't have time in the evening, so I wanted to bring it up on the show today so that, guys, jump in the comments real quick. Find Joy's comment for my video yesterday and let her know what source you guys use for your kratom. I always buy mine at a local head shop because where I live, there are multiple head shops. I drive by, several head shops on the way home that I'll go to each week to, re-up on my stash of kratom or whatever. I've not really gotten a lot of it online. There was one time that I went and got a $60 kilo from Yo Kratom. Again, that source is called Yo Kratom. And this guy that I follow on YouTube now, because I'm, a really big MMA buff, and I follow this guy named Jesse on Fire, and he sponsors Yo Kratom, and he always mentions them in his videos and stuff. And I was like, damn, $60 for a kilo, that's 4 times what I'm buying at the head shop, because I buy like one of the quarter kilos, the 250 milligram ones. So it's 4 times that for barely any more money. I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's bulk kratom. That's what I'm trying to do. But then when I did it and I got it and I began to use it, that's when I realized that all kratom is not created equal, at least from my perspective. And I shared a story the other day about when I was coming home from the mountains, the time where I had a lot of issues with the kratom wobbles, and I got really, really sick one time as I was driving and had to pull over and literally let my wife drive us part of the way home. That's the kratom that I was taking during that time, and I got that kratom from Yo Kratom. So hopefully sometime in the future, Yo Kratom never reaches out to me on my channel and asks me to promote their product, because I'm gonna have trouble doing that, because the only experience I have had with Yo Kratom so far was not a very good one. It was literally making me tired and giving me the wobbles, yet I was barely getting any euphoria at all. And so what was happening is I was taking it, and then I was taking more than what I was normally taking, because I wasn't getting any euphoria. I was like, damn, I don't even feel this. I'm not even high off of this. Okay, let me pop another spoonful. And then I think what was happening is I, was taking so much that I eventually just got really sick off of it, right? And I ended up getting the wobbles and all this other stuff. So I know that didn't answer your question, Joy. That was telling you a vendor not to use. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe you can try Yo Kratom. It's really cheap bulk product, so you can get a lot of it for a really cheap amount. But I didn't have a great experience with it. Just the quality of it was not nearly as good, because what you want is something that's good quality, where you can take a lesser amount of it and still get great effects from it. You don't want something that the quality's so low and the alkaloids are so off that you're just having to like pound it back one after the other. So anyway, jump in the comments, find Joy on my yesterday's video, and let her know something if you would, or just drop it in the comment below under this video and just say, hey Joy, blah 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 blah, this is where I get mine, they have good kratom, whatever, something besides the Happy Hippo and Club 13, because she's tried both of those. At Cognito Man, yo, what's good? What do you do for the church you work for? Hey, Cognito Man, thank you, bro, for reaching out. Hey, you must have misunderstood me when I said I work for a Christian company. The company that I work for is overtly Christian. The owners who work in-house with the company that I work for are overtly Christian individuals. You know, there's a Bible verse gets sent out every morning on the email chain to all the employees. You know, they're very devout Christian people. So when I say I work for an overtly Christian company, that's what I mean. I don't work for a church. You know, I have written gospel music and stuff like that in the past, but I don't currently work for a church. It's actually a company that manufactures and produces truck bodies, and I'm an administrator for them. So I handle like a lot of the scheduling. You know, I work on Excel a lot and attend a lot of meetings and production meetings, that sort of thing. So that's what I do for them. But sorry if I confused you. For some reason, you were thinking I was working at a church. I do not work for a church, but a Christian company nonetheless. So that's why you've probably heard me mention that there's been times where doing this channel made me a little nervous because I'm on here talking about Kratom, and I've talked about some other somewhat risky topics on here that if my Christian company and somebody that worked for that Christian company happened to run across the channel, they might kind of give it a sideways look like, what? You know, that sort of thing. So, but hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep doing the channel. You know, it's helping people, and as far as I'm concerned, if any Christian were to judge me for that when Jesus himself hung out with sinners, hung out with prostitutes, hung out with tax collectors and the fringes of society, then I can't imagine someone who proclaims to be a Christian somehow judging and ousting me for doing what I'm doing. So I made that decision a long time ago. But thank you for the comment. I'm going to get to one more here. At Spencer Drummer, hey man, on the journey with you. All of this stuff hits home so hard. I have a baby. The seemingly rare times we get to be intimate, I've had some performance issues as well. Ha ha ha. It's clearing up already now that I'm down to around 10 grams per day. I actually made a comment on your video where you explain that incident, but I just came across this video, which is the most current, so I figured I'd drop a comment here too. I'm just watching these videos today at work for inspiration. It's crazy how brutal kratom withdrawal can be, and how that fear of it and insomnia has kept me in the loop for so long. I quit drinking years ago, and for a little while, it was a godsend before it became a ball and chain. Anyway, I'll keep watching your videos and throw in updates myself along the way. Going to taper slow, and hopefully be done by the end of January. Thanks for the videos. You seem like a good dude. Spencer, thank you very much, bro. Spencer is new to the channel, so hey, welcome, brother. We're glad you're here. And yeah, you seem like you're right about where I'm at. We have a lot of parallels. And you know, I love that. And if you're on 10 grams, I can see how that's very doable, being done by the end of January. That's not a major amount. Are you on 10 grams per dose, or are you talking about 10 grams per day? If you're on 10 grams per day, yeah. Oh yeah. You're in a good spot, I think, right now. But anyway, let me know. I'll definitely be starting a taper. I'm not going to do too much more. I'm kind of going to stick with where I'm at right now until the end of the year, because, you know, I want to enjoy my Christmas. I don't want to be going through withdrawals and shit on my Christmas vacation and all that. So I'm going to keep it at about 15 grams or so, because I seem to kind of be leveling out a little bit with that at the moment. And so, but January the 1st, yeah, I'm going to start dropping it down every 3 or 4 days. I'm going to start cutting away a capsule. And, you know, I'm going to get to a point where maybe I'm down to 5-6 grams per day per total. And that'll put me within striking distance, that if I decide, you know, I'm going to live with that for a few minutes. And if I decide I just want to come off, or I'm having trouble maintaining just doing that, then I'll probably just go ahead and come off of it. And this time I'm going to try my best not to go back on it, to be completely honest with you. I always hesitate to say that because as a drug addicted person, you know, That's always to put that information out there. It's kind of like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. You'll change your mind. You'll change your mind. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. You guys, you know me. You get the real deal here. I'm the real deal. I'm a real guy. You know, same struggles, same inner speech that you guys have. It's bad one day. As soon as you realize it's bad, you start to make changes. And then when it starts to get good, or when you start to get better at your doses, but it starts to get worse in the feelings that you're having, then you're like, let me rethink this. This shit is harder than I expected. You know how it is. But anyway, I gotta go. Love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below, and I will see you next time. Peace.